What's up, everybody? This is Tiana. Welcome back to Straight from the Crates, where we dig through the music, the history, and the choices artists make once the fame and pressure hits. Today, we're talking about one of the most unique careers in hip hop, Busta Rhymes, specifically his debut album, The Coming. And because Busta might be one of the most successful evolutions in rap history, or one of the most debated transformations. So the question is, did Busta Rhymes evolve with the culture, or did he reinvent himself so many times that he lost the original mission? So let's talk about it and let's go back to the crates. So, leaders of the new school era, before the solo fame, Busta Rhymes was a part of this group. And if you guys don't know who Leaders of the New School was, it was a group, or I'd say, yes, a group that was part of a collective. The collective was called the Native Tongue. So you can, if you're interested in hip hop history, you can go do your research on that. So that the Native Tongues was Leaders of the New School, A Tribe Called Quest, and a bunch of other hip hop groups. And they focused on lyricism, consciousness, originality, and, just all the best parts of his hip hop. But Busta was already, a different type of character. Even then, he had a wild, explosive energy that stood out from the rest of the group, which, eventually caused a lot of conflict and became a problem. And the group tensions grew and grew and grew. So by the mid 90s, leaders of the new school ended up breaking up, with Busta Rhymes stepping out on his own. And some people still debate whether or not that move was ambitious or if it was betrayal. So, when this album was released in 1996, it didn't sound like anything else. The album had dark beats, chaotic flows, and Busta Rhymes sounded almost like a cartoon villain preacher all at the same time. Like, the biggest record on the album was Woo-Hah, Got You All in Check. That song was loud, it was weird, and it was also impossible to ignore. It pushed Busta into mainstream rap instantly. But something else happened too. I think we were in the beginning stages of Busta Rhymes building this persona that we see now. So he's not just a rapper, he's a character. The dungeon and dragon persona is what I'm going to call it. So, by the 90s and early 2000s, Busta Rhymes had leaned heavily into this wild performance style, and songs like Gimme Some More, Break Your Neck pushed this rapid fire delivery and animated personality to the extreme. When Busta said rah rah like a dungeon dragon, people thought it was just a crazy rap line. But if you look at the 90s comic books, the fantasy video games, oh, also the board games, Wu-Tang Clan mythology, hip hop was actually building its own universe of characters, and Busta Rhymes might have been the most theatrical one of them all. This later became immortalized in pop culture by artists like the female rapper who we shall not name ever again, and others. But that line actually says a lot about Busta's whole career, because his music started to feel less like traditional rap and more like fantasy performances. Almost like Dungeons and Dragons, but in a hip hop form with characters, energy, chaos, and spectacle. So, is this an evolution? Is it a gimmick? Like, by the early 2000s, Busta Rhymes had transformed at least two times. The videos were bigger, the production was more commercial, the persona was larger than life. But some critics started asking, did Busta evolve with the industry, Or did he become a gimmick rapper? The debate still exists today. But I think the interesting part is even when trends change from boom bap to shiny suits to club rap, Busta Rhymes never disappeared. He kept reinventing himself. And I think that actually may be the real story here. Hip hop is filled with rappers who couldn't adapt, but Busta Rhymes survived multiple eras. He survived the 80s, which was, about parties and consciousness. He survived the 90s, which is about lyrical hip hop, and the late 90s, which was, commercial rap. He also survived the early 2000s, which is the club era, and he's even part of the modern collaborations. So this kind of longevity is actually quite rare. So maybe the real question isn't whether Busta sold out, but maybe the question is, did he simply play the game better than everyone else? So my final thoughts is has hip hop always had two types of artists? The ones who stay exactly the same and the ones who transform. I think Busta Rhymes might be the ultimate example of the second. Whether you see that as evolution or selling out, it depends on which era of hip hop you believe was the real one. Maybe Busta Rhymes didn't sell out. Maybe he just realized something very early. Hip hop isn't just music, it is mythology. But either way, when you go back through the crates, you realize something. Busta Rhymes didn't just change with hip hop. He helped make it louder, stranger, and bigger. And maybe that was the whole point. So, this is another one from straight from the crates. Drop down in the comments and talk to me about it. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.